So far in a vacuum, I would definitely say all of these abnormal Fantastic Four figures have been pretty good. Herbie is probably the one that's lacking the most with a lack of a connection point other than the hands for Lego pieces. Human Torch just looks a little worse since I have other options in the collection, but we have a couple more members to look at, one of which being Invisible Woman, which I could see it being pretty comparable, and of course, the one I don't have as a custom is the Thing. So very easy as an upgrade there. Let's check them out. Same as the rest of the set of these figures, they come in the clear plastic hardshell cases that are pretty common for a lot of customs. Inside you'll have the main minifigure, and for Sue you also get an accessory with a little bit of a force field piece. Thing will just be the minifigures, no accessories, so take that as you will. Let's check out the figures. When it comes to Sue, what you see is what you're going to get, and a lot of great things continuing from the Mr. Fantastic already reviewed. It's going to have the same sort of glove top, arm design, and leg design like I had already kind of mentioned. Torso is going to be a little bit more simple since you won't have the muscle lines that the other characters had, but the dark blue is printed on the edges for that abstract curve sort of space. Same goes for the back of the torso. I guess her belt is curved instead of just straight across like the male characters would have. So, slight differences, and it is nice to see them kind of mix it up a little bit to make it more accurate or just fit the character a little bit better. So I do appreciate that. Like I already kind of mentioned, the arms do have really nice printing going around where there is that really nice glove design on the full 360 of the arm. I think that is really great, and I really appreciate them adding that. Makes it a little bit nicer. And on the bottom of the neck of the head, it has that black, which is a little bit harder to see here with the shadow created by the hairpiece. But that neck printing is definitely going to make these figures stand out a little bit more, since it is what I feel like is a pretty important part of their, costumes. And with normal Lego heads, not going to be possible. So great upgrade there. We got the little accessory piece here, which is going to be a little similar to the Human Torch one with the connection point, where it's just like a little bit of a bar molded into the piece. It is transparent blue, which probably will show up a little bit better in a build instead of transparent clear. It's a little bit small, doesn't cover the whole minifigure, so you're gonna have minimal use of that, I guess. It would be kind of nice if it was a full character, sort of force field design. So you could maybe do a little bit more of it in a battle scene, but it's still better to get something than nothing. Not a whole lot of range of motion in the hand there. There's like a little bit. Let's just see if you put it against the torso, ooh, having a hard time seeing if I can actually get this against the body. I guess that's kind of as close as it gets unless you angle the hand a little bit more, like a Captain America shield. A little goofy. It's going to be probably at the best if you are kind of holding it out all the way in front of the figure. I think the little bit of wave design on there kind of looks neat. The color is fine, it's not transparent. So, some people are going to have preferences on what they would want for that. Again, nice to just have something. Hairpiece here, I'm going to say I like it a little bit less than the one that Mr. Fantastic had. I just don't know if I love the shaping here. Doesn't feel super Lego-like. But there are some good options for other hair pieces. I think this is a custom piece, or at least an official piece in a custom color that was done by Earthly Brick for the character here. This one here, it's a little bit more on the yellow side. There is some nice texture. It's not like over textured, but the way it sits on the front there just doesn't feel very Lego-like to me. Getting off isn't the worst thing ever compared to some other hair pieces that I have. Just slides off. I did notice some yellow chipping on it when I took it out of the package originally. Face design here looks pretty good. It has black eyebrows instead of blonde ones. A little bit of lipstick, which looks nice. No alternative faces, which I think that is a downside for these figures. It would be nice to have more expressions to put them in different scenes, which I'll say that about most minifigures if there's only the one head. I guess while we're at, let's toss that hairpiece on too. Yeah, you'll be able to find whatever you like for your mind's eye version of the character, since there's a pretty good amount of female hair pieces for Lego figures now. Compared to the Earthly Brick one, this is definitely an upgrade with the extra texture again on the belt and the extra printing on the arms, the legs, and the neck. Just really enhance the character, make it a lot better and more interesting to look at. This is a good first attempt, but I'm glad I was able to get something else. Let's go to the Thing. And this is like a top minifigure for me. There are some weird design inconsistencies that I don't 100% understand, especially looking at the legs. There's no toe printing. The side of the legs and back of legs don't have the rock continued all the way down, so it looks a little strange, honestly. Maybe it would have been kind of nice if they did like a boot print, or even had a second pair of legs, maybe, where it is like the just full blue pants and then black boots like the other ones. If they could throw in an extra, that'd be kind of nice if you wanted to have. I want to say like maybe the 2006-ish, 10-ish Thing design had like that design. Kind of thinking of like some art with that. No accessories here, but it's kind of interesting. I saw someone point out eyebrow does come out, so you can flip it if you want to. Give him like kind of a shocked expression. I think that's, yeah, there we go. So that's kind of fun and interesting. Definitely changes the expression completely, where it looks a little bit more scared and less angry. So that's kind of fun. Getting that back off again. The whole head is a mold, so it's not like it has like a head, I guess I should say like helmet sort of piece over a normal head. So that's kind of fun and interesting to see. Printing on there is really nice, where it's like darker tan for like around the eye shaping, but there's also, I guess, black, and then I guess the dark tan is also on the leg. So that is continued art between those different pieces. Just pop that eyebrow back on. Oh, got it upside. Nope, that's right. Okay. Whoops. Super easy to get that in and out. I guess I wouldn't mess with it too much. It is like a smaller piece with some smaller pegs. I do think the rocks, kind of blend together pretty well. There is still like range of motion with the head, which is nice. You're not going to get like full 360 movement. Maybe if you unplug the head a little bit, you can move it a little bit more. And it is kind of interesting where this piece does seem to be painted in some way and not just like molded the color it's supposed to be. Or maybe there's just like a different finish on the outside, which would make sense for preventing scratching, but it is definitely more matte on the head peg and on the inside of the head. So that was interesting to see. Arms can be removed. I'm not going to do this ever again, but just a big old hollow peg on the inside there, and that is what the arm peg looks like too. Kind of fun to see the engineering behind that. Again, it's kind of matte on the inside and a little bit different on the outside. So they did something with the coloring to change it up a little bit from the original base color of the, I guess, I'm assuming plastic here. Arms are also going to be nice, where it is different than some of those other midfigs I've had in my collection, where the hands do still rotate here, and you get the full 360 movement all around the body, nothing bumping there, and like I already mentioned, hand rotation. So that is nice. Looks like there is a gap for a bar. I don't know how often I would want to put things in there though, since like I said, there is like a coating on it, but fits pretty well, honestly. It wasn't a lot of friction or just stress when I did that. So there you go. You can give him some sort of accessory, like if he pulls out a light post, that would probably be the thing to do with that. It is going to be a separate piece for the belt. So torso is going to be just a solid hunk of plastic, going to be kind of the same mold on the bottom there as the Mr. Fantastic stretch torso piece. Belt going to be pretty loose, so no issues there with getting it on and off. It is going to be like a little awkward around the legs since it is going to be so loose. The transition between the belt and the legs isn't like super nice to look at, since it's going to be a big mold on the top and then normal Lego legs on the bottom. Not a lot you can do there though, unfortunately. Like the other characters, I do think this is having 360 print of some sort, so there is rocks printed on the inside of the legs as well, which is nice. And I do have a Thing style leg from the Earthly Brick one that I've just had, so I guess I'll toss that on too. And I kind of described it already, but that's kind of a fun look. Hands also are removable, but probably wouldn't recommend it a whole ton, and it's going to be pretty much a normal Lego hand peg for that. They're a little bit on the thin side, it kind of seems like, so just be careful. It is a kind of expensive. I think this was like $60, so it's definitely less expensive than some other characters that would be this size. And I think they got some reuse for this for the movie version of the Thing, so it's kind of nice to see them be able to reuse parts of this a little bit. But I kind of like that. Let me know in the comments, do you prefer this look or these shorts look? Like I said, there's going to be a lot of different comics. He's had a couple different looks, so you can definitely find something that would be like this somewhere. But, showed off all the accessories. I think this is a nice alternative look. Let's go to the comparisons and the final verdict. I think both these figures turn out pretty good. The Thing definitely is my favorite figure out of this whole Abnormal lineup. I'm pretty sure I include in the top 25, if not top 20 of my custom LEGO minifigures in my collection, which, kind of jumped the gun on there since it is one of my more recent pickups, but I've been really waiting for a good Thing minifigure, and it definitely delivered. And it's going to be kind of interesting to compare it to some of the other mid-figs that I have in the collection. The Thing can be kind of sized up in people's heads, but he is only supposed to be 6 feet tall and just wider, and I think they did a good job here portraying that. And it kind of sucks, it doesn't have the ball joint arms, but it makes sense with the texture. It would probably cause issues and bump into the body in some way if you had that, so it'll kind of fit with the sort of design that Jin did there for Groot, and also some other big figs I think I have in my collection, like Swamp Thing. And what a jump from the bootleg, which, I'm not going to count the bootleg as a version of the character in my collection for most cases, just because, ooh, not looking great. I think the molded detailing here is definitely what puts it above and beyond, versus just having kind of flat and printed, which that'll be the version that Atlas put out. So again, when I get those, it'll be interesting to compare all of these again. The one downside to the Invisible Woman here, no transparent parts at all included to kind of swap things out for a powered look. That was one of the benefits of the version by Earthly Brick, is you did get the transparent head and hair to use. And like I kind of mentioned, don't know if I love the hair piece here, but that's easy to switch out for something else in the collection, like I already did with using the Earthly Brick one there. But the color is kind of interesting, since I don't know if that is like an official LEGO color. Kind of matches the like lighter yellow there with the other one there, but it feels like it's a little bit darker, but maybe that's just because it's a little more matte, not as shiny as an official hairpiece. But having this whole team lineup here fits really well. I'm really happy to have, again, like a full team by one designer, something I haven't had yet since I had all the Earthly Brick ones, so they didn't have a Thing minifigure. The legs, though, were a nice little upgrade from that pack to throw onto this one. It is kind of cool to see what that design could look like if I wanted to switch it up, but I'm pretty happy with the base minifigures here. And so far, definitely a big upgrade from all the Earthly Brick minifigures that I did have, and glad I was able to pick these up when I did. If you want to see more custom LEGO Fantastic Four or custom LEGO Marvel videos overall, check out all the content on my channel. If you want to help out even further, feel free to join as a member for some extra perks. Like always, I've been Brick Radiop, and I'll see you in the next video.